Okay, let's get started. All right, let's get started then. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so today we're gonna go over conditionals, match, and loops. So let's just do a quick recap of day two. So we learned about lists, right? And lists can be ordered and they are able to change. So we learned about methods and that. To create a list, you use these square brackets. Tuples are basically lists, but they cannot be changed. So all the methods we learned, like dot insert, dot append, these things like that, those change the list. So those are not methods part of tuples. Tuples, you use the parentheses, and they're usually used for like GPS points and stuff like that. Anything that you don't want to change, you use a tuple for. And then we have dictionaries. And dictionaries, they are basically you use these curly braces, and then you have a key and value, and they're used for really quick lookups, right? Just think of your own library. Each book has a corresponding book number, and sometimes the book title itself can be the same title, but the number is different. So yeah. Um, so that means the key itself has to be unique, but the value can be the same. Then we actually didn't get into sets, so unordered. We didn't do sets yesterday, did we?
No.
Okay, let's
We
actually
did.
wait. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
No, we did.
All right. Cool. So they're just unordered and no duplicates. Okay. Cool. So that's good. All right. Today we're gonna be learning about if if then else statements. We're gonna then learn about match. Then we're gonna do while loops, and then we're gonna do for loops. So let's get started. All right. All right. So if loops, right? What are they? Basically, they're just a bunch of conditionals. Like you're asking conditions, right? If something happens, then do something, right? If this statement here is true, then it's going to print this, right? So that's basically all it is. And in Python, the syntax is basically like it's pretty simple. In other languages, you have to use the parentheses and then you have to do all that. But in this Python, you just do it like this. Let's just say if x is equal to 10. Okay, another thing is that you might be wondering, why am I using two equals? Why can't I just do one if x equals to 10? So there is actually a difference between x equals to 10 and x equals to 10. A double equal is basically comparison between two values. So x equals 10 is setting the value. So you're setting x to 10. But if you do x equal to 10, you're basically comparing it. You're checking, is x equal to 10 or is it something else, right? You're checking. So you use for whenever you're checking something, you do double equals, right? If tacos is equal to chicken, you're trying to check if the taco is equal to chicken, then you would just do double equals. But if you're setting that taco equal to chicken, then you just do one equals. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, cool. So inside of an if statement, remember we Python is an index-oriented programming language, which basically means that you have to always indent to show that something's inside of something. So if x equals 10, you're just gonna indent so you can like, you know, it'll know if it's inside of it or not. Um, So if I had another line, let's say another print, and I wanted it inside, then I would just do that, blah, 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 right? and let's say I didn't want it to be inside and just run outside, then I would do it like this. So that's how if statements work. Basically, if the condition here is true, then it will do this, right? Um, okay, cool. But you can also use if x not equal to. So you can do not x equals to 10. And that's basically the opposite. You're trying to see if it's not equal to 10. And if this statement is true, then it'll work. In other programming languages, usually you do not equals like this, like with the exclamatory mark. But in Python, you actually just write out not, which is pretty like simple. But yeah, that's how you also do not equals to in Python. Okay, great. So that's just the basics of the if statement. Um, then we can move on to else if. So else if is okay. Let's just do return true. Okay. So whenever you're doing an else if, it's actually you don't write out else if. It's actually just elif, and this is basically you use it if this first condition is not true, then it's going to go into this condition. And remember, Python's a top-down programming language, which means that it reads from the top to the bottom. So it's going to read in order. So let's say you have like multiple else ifs, then it's just, and let's say both of these are not true, then it's just going to go to the third else if. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Give me a second. Okay. Um, Give me 1 second. Actually, looks like it's not presenting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Everyone can still see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So basically, that is how the else if statement works. Cool. So let's do an example right now. Actually, I'm gonna set x is equal to 10, and if x is equal to 5, then return true. And notice how I'm also not doing starting my else if here, right? What so the difference between starting it here and what I showed before is that this is as soon as this is not true, it's not going to go. But if I put my else if in here, um, first of all, this needs to be true. This condition needs to be true, and then it's going to check for a secondary condition. So it's basically going to check for two conditions only if this is true. So that's not what we want. We don't want this else if to be inside of this one. Instead, it's going to be its own thing. So you want it to be separate from this. So make sure whenever you start an else if, you're starting it on a new fresh line like this. Let's say this is okay. Given an example that these two are like, let's say in some type of loop and they're like this, always have it where the first if is indented at. So if it's one indent here, then it's one indent here. That's how um, the program is going to recognize it. Okay, cool. Moving on. Okay, so else if x is equal to 10, then return yay. Okay. Okay. So this will run, but we also have one more command called else. Else, you don't give it anything else. And you're just going to tell it something. right? Basically, if all the other conditions fail, then it's gonna return whatever is in here, or like whatever code you have in here. So let's say these two fail, then it's gonna do that. Let's say you had like five more else ifs, but all of those fail, it's gonna go to the else. So else, if all else fails, all other conditions fail, then it's gonna do this. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So if I run this, let's see what it does. Um, 4x equal to 5. Oh, see, I did my own mistake. It should be double equals to. And what else? Return. Oh, so I'll just do print. Looks like since we're on a local thing, return is not working. Okay, print. Okay. All right.
Just,
What's up?
I think Nokia has a question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Pragya, go ahead.
What's the difference between single equals and double equals?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, what the difference is basically like a single equal. You're setting it to something, right? So right now, the first thing, x equals 10, you're setting x to be 10. But if you're doing double equals, it's a comparison. You're saying, okay, is x equal to 10? Like, is it equal to
Oh,
10? And it's going to output out true or false. That's basically what the difference is. Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense. Thank you for clarifying.
All right, cool. Okay, so going back. All right, so far does the if then logic make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
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 Okay, good. Okay, so conditions use. All right. There's also. All right. So in here, it's not just going to be equals to all the time. There's also other operators you can use. For example, you can do if x is, going to be less than 5, you can use this symbol, right? Or greater than 5, then you can use this symbol. Greater than equal to 5, you can use this symbol. Less than equal to 5, you can use this symbol. Okay. Um, does this make sense? This should be pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay. All right. Mm. All right. All right. There's also a shorthand way of doing this as well. Um, if you don't want to, if you only have one line, right, you don't have to actually do an indentation. If you only have one line, you can actually do it like this. If x equals to 10, then print true or something, right? You can just do it like this. If it's only one line, let's say you have like more code or whatever, you can't do it like in one line like this. Does that make sense to everyone? How you can do this part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so also there's one more thing you can do. So let's say you have multiple conditions, right? You want to check for multiple things. You want to check if x is less than equal to 5 and x is, let's say, and not x equals to 3, okay? So if these two conditions are true, then print true. So you can also use this and symbol or and like, word and put it inside of the conditional here, your conditions. and check for both, right? You're checking for both this and this. Does that make sense to everyone? You can use this for that. You can also do or, right? You can check if either of these are true, then it's going to do this. Okay?
So the other work was every conditional?
Yeah, you can use or and for anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay, so basically, and is true if both sides are true, or is true if either side is true, and not flips true to false and false to true. Okay, we just learned to do this. Okay, so now what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna create your own. I'm just gonna actually delete the solution for now. I'm gonna hide it. So order front to front. Okay. All right. I'll give you guys some time to work on this, right? So create a variable called temp with a temperature in Fahrenheit and print hot if it's above 85, cold if it's below 60, and nice otherwise. Okay. And this is a template starter for you guys to use.
Wait, how do I share my screen?
Let me stop sharing. Okay. There should be a. Do you see the button next to turn on camera?
Yeah.
Click that,
Uh-huh.
and then you can share from there.
Okay, let me try.
Okay.
So this is what I have. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, if temp is greater than okay, what's the error? It's never closed. Oh, look, else if print cold, you forgot to close your parentheses.
Oh.
Okay, it'll work now.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. Yeah. All right, guys, good job. We'll move on to the next thing now.
Hello?
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Wait, what? You can't hear?
Hello?
Monday, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Monday? Hello? Hello? Yeah? Try rejoining, okay.
Okay.
What? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear now, I can hear.
Okay, good. All right. So the next topic is. Let me just go to the window. Okay. All right. So next thing we're going to be covering is the match. Match compares a value against a series of case patterns, right? You're basically It's like a case by case thing. It's Python's version of switch statements in other language. So I don't know if you guys have worked with other languages, but it's basically switch in other ones. So each case checks for a match top to bottom, and the underscore is a wildcard. So it always matches like a default else. So basically, it's just an else statement here. This is usually this is only available in Python 3.10 and newer, so it's like relatively new, I would say. But yeah, to match more than one value in a single pair. So it's basically going to be checking for something inside of something. Like for example, in here, this example here, it's looking for match fruit and whatever fruit's here. Um, so if it's this fruit, then it's gonna just print out common fruit, and it uses this symbol here, basically like an or symbol. Honestly, it's kind of basically like an if then else statement, but you're directly checking inside of a variable or like something like that. So let's do an example, right? Let's.
Where can you find the pipe symbol on your keyboard?
It should be shift. It's like next to these square brackets. If you do shift backslash, yeah, backslash.
Uh,
Can you write or instead of that, or do you have to put that if you're saying or?
Uh, you have to use this for case. Yeah, you have to use this symbol for instead of
Okay.
or. Yeah.
It's the backwards slash. It's
Okay.
on the backwards slash for me, the shift backwards slash.
Yeah, that's where it should be, or usually it's like that. So let's just do the example that I created over there. So fruit, match fruit, and we're gonna do case, and we'll do case apple and pear, um, and we're just gonna print out found it. Then we'll just do an else case. So just do this print not found. Yeah, okay, we'll just do this. Let's run this. Tab inconsistency. Okay, where is it inconsistent at? I'll just copy this actually. Okay. Yeah, you can basically use it like this. All right. So let's do an example. Actually, I think next slide I cover an example. Right. So I'm gonna just for now move this to the top. Order, bring it to the front. Okay. All right. So you guys can try this on your own. So create a variable grade with a letter grade, so A, B, C, and use a match to print a short message for each grade with the default case for anything else. So yeah. And a bonus is if you combine two grades in one case, like A, like this right here, like case A and B. Just have some fun with it. Try to be creative so you learn a lot from it. But yeah, try this example on your own over here. All right, so let's see what it says. Compile errors, tab error, consistent. Okay. Um. All right, so that's just a tab error inconsistency. Usually this compiler is kind of bad. Oh,
Oh, is it this thing?
yeah, and also you're forgetting one thing. You're forgetting the colon in case A minus and case B.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So fix those, and that might fix it, or else it's just a tab issue,
Okay.
which is fine, I think. Sometimes a compiler just makes mistakes like that. Try running that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tab issue. It's fine. It should be fine.
Okay.
But your code logically is correct, so that's fine.
Okay.
All right. All right. Is everyone done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Yeah.
okay, then we can move on. All right, cool. So the next thing we're gonna do. Can you guys? Am I sharing my screen or no? Okay, I'm not.
No.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to while loops. Okay, and basically while loops are a repeat function. It's gonna keep repeating the code inside of here until a condition is met, right? Until a condition is true. So it's gonna keep repeating this. Okay, let me go on with an easier example so you can see. So let's say I is equals to 0 while I is greater than is let's say, okay, let's start here. Let's start at 10 actually. While I is greater than 0, it's going to keep running, right? Yeah, while I is greater than 0, it's going to keep running. So then I'm going to make it print. Let's do print high. So let's just see what happens when I run this code. Oh, it's going to run forever. Yeah, that's not what we want. It's going to give us an infinite thing. Okay. Then we'll do I minus equals 1. I'll show what that means in a second. Indentation error. Okay, great. Okay. All right. So it's gonna run high 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it runs it 10 times. Does anyone want to guess why it runs it 10 times?
Because you're reducing I every time the loop runs.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's good. And the condition is not true anymore, right? Once I reaches to 0, it becomes false and stops running. This while loop will only work and I'll keep repeating only when I is greater than that value. So initially, let's make a quick little table. Initially, I is going to be 10, and then it's going to print out high. Then it's going to be 9, it's going to print out high. Then it's going to be 8, prints out high. Then it checks each time. Okay, is 9 or 8 greater than 0? Okay, it's greater. Then we move on to the next line. 7, we print high. Is 7 greater than 0? Then it goes on and on and on until it reaches 1, and it checks, is 1 greater than 0? Yes, that's true. Then it's going to print out high. Then it checks, is 0 greater than 0? It checks it. It doesn't do it anything, so it moves on to the next code. It moves on. When it reaches it, this will print 11 times if I did greater than or equal to 0, because at the 11th index or 11th time it runs, it's going to be true. So then it'll print high, but when it's going to the negatives, it's going to not be true. So does this make sense how a while loop works?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I don't understand the part you wrote under the print.
Oh, I was just giving an example, like what it's doing in the code, because each time I is going to be something different, right? I is going to go, it's subtracting by 1. Oh, I minus equals 1 is basically taking whatever value I has, right? So the I starts off, let me actually illustrate it so it's easier to see. Web, whiteboard. Okay. So if I go on here. Okay. Okay, so if I go on here, so we have our while loop. So initially I is going to be 10, right? So
Mhm.
um, if I do I is equal to I minus 1, this is the same thing as saying I minus equals to 1. What these two code mean is that each time I runs like inside of the while loop, we say I minus equals 1 or I equals I minus 1. So it checks what I is initially, right? So let's look at this. I is initially 10, then it does minus 1. Now it's going to be set to 9. Then it does that again. 9 minus, because we're just substituting in I, 9 minus 1 is equal to 8. Then we do it again. 8 minus 1 is equal to 7. Then we do it again. 7 minus 1 is equal to 6, right? It's going to keep setting I to those values until it gets to 0, and then the while loop stops because then the condition is not met. Does that make sense?
One more question.
Mhm.
Why can't the minus sign be next to the one?
Like, like equal minus. That's just a syntax of Python. So in
Oh,
Python, that's how you would do it.
okay. I understand.
Okay, great. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right. Okay. Another thing in while loops is break, continue. We'll go into break first and else. Okay. So let's do this. All right. Let's say I want this condition to exit out the loop when something is met, right? Let's just say if I is equal to 3, I want to stop the loop. Then I would do break. What this does is, okay, you'll see, you'll see. If I run it, let's see what happens. Oh, right, double equals. Indentation error. Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it only runs 7 times. Why didn't it run 3 more times? Well, when I is equal to 3 is reached, then it stops running because this condition is met. So that's how you can also break the loop inside. You can do it for many things, right? So let's say you're trying to find something, and if that condition is found, then you can break. You don't need to go through the loop, 100 times. You're just wasting computational power and resources and stuff like that, right? You don't want to do that. So inside of a while, once a condition is met, let's say you have a forever, like you could also have a loop that goes forever. Like you can do while, oh shoot, like okay, while true, you can have that you can do that while true because true is always going to be true, right? While true, just run whatever, and if whatever statement inside, then you can just break it, right? That's how you can do a forever looping loop until a condition is met. You can also do it this way. Um, does that make sense? How we use break?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, that's how you use break, right? Okay, there's also else. So let's see what else does. So let's take out this over here. Else, print. Let's just do this example actually. Okay. Print done. Right. So all it does is as soon as this is done, it's just gonna do whatever is in here. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So once this condition is false, then it's just gonna do this. It's just basically an if else statement. Again, remember if the if statement is false, then it's gonna do the else statement. That's all it is. So if this statement is false, as soon as whatever this makes it false, then it'll do this. Okay, but let's take what we learned from before. Let's say if I is equal to 3, I want to make it break, right? Let's see what happens now. Oh, it's going to give me an indentation error. Yep, knew it. Okay. Oh, come on. Which line is it? Print I. Okay, let's try this. Okay. All right. What did you guys notice? What did you notice?
It doesn't have the print done on at the end.
Yeah, because technically the condition never went false. It stops at 3. So 3 is still equal to 3, right? So the condition is still true. So since the condition is still true, this never triggers because, well, it's not false here, right? But let's say that it was like 4 or something, then that condition is already false. So it's going to print done. So if I have a break inside of it that makes it like stop the while loop before the condition becomes false, then it's not going to do the else statement. So it's pretty useful for when you're trying to do stuff like that. Does that make sense to everyone, how this works, or is this confusing?
I understand it.
Okay, great. Okay, so now we'll do this practice. So go ahead and read through this. So use a while loop to print the numbers 5 down to 1. Basically a countdown, then print liftoff after the loop ends. Okay, so I'm going to hide the solution again. All right, good luck on this, guys.